Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands and artists, like the gentleman to my left. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear RAR. So, Rauly, welcome to the podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, our mutual friend Jackie connected us. How long have you been working with Jackie, and what has her relationship meant to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually met Jackie 2 years ago now, I want to say. She reached out. It was my second song I ever released, actually. And she said she liked it and she invited me to hang out with her company. And it was, yeah, I've been friends with her ever since. And then she's been my manager for maybe 4 months now, but we've been friends for 2 years. So yeah, she's been great. She's been there since the beginning.
So, has that dynamic you feel changed between you two since she took on that role?
I wouldn't say dynamic, but I would say our relationship has changed in that way of just us talking more about my music than we had before, maybe, and just kind of letting her in more on our plans and future plans for, myself as an artist and my music. But yeah, she's still a friend, so.
It's always nice to have someone like that in your corner, especially in this industry. Fair to
Oh,
say?
oh, for sure, for sure. I've had a lot of different types of relationships, so I'm really thankful for Jackie.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning, man. So when did you start thinking that music was like a career for you?
Oh man, it's kind of a tough question because I've always sang since I could talk. I would do like musical theater growing up in like elementary school, and was in choir in junior high. Kind of started playing guitar at around 8 years old. So music's always been a huge part of my life, and I always knew it was going to be a huge part of my life. To be honest with you, I never really thought it would be a career, or I never really thought it was possible, I guess. I always wanted it, but in terms of just actively pursuing it, that only started a couple years ago. But I was in a band in high school. I actually released songs on SoundCloud, and like a little bit on Spotify under a different name for a bit in college. But I would say I just call it my first official release was a couple years ago as Rauly, like my music that I'm like, all right, this is it. And that was probably when I first, made the decision that it could be a career was a couple years ago. Maybe 3 years ago, maybe a year before that. That was when I met this producer who introduced me to my producer and collaborator, Busco. So I would say they kind of gave me the confidence to be like, let's do it. Let's just go for
Yeah.
it.
So you mentioned career, obviously, as a music career, but you also have a professional career that kind of
Yeah.
allows you to do the music career. Talk about that and how long you've been doing what you're currently doing as your like, full-time job, as they say.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I never really thought music could be a career for me. I don't know why. Like, I always loved music. I don't know. I guess maybe got distracted or maybe just societal norms or, whatever. But I actually went to college, and I got my master's in finance. So I was in school for 5 years. I was always, singing and writing music, but just, because it was a necessity for me. And it always has been. Like, some of my darkest times were when I wasn't writing music. So I was still doing that. But yeah, that just led to my job as a financial analyst. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to make money in music nowadays, so this is kind of to keep me afloat, to help me invest more into my music career as well. And yeah, I guess just to offer some stability in general.
Well, and like you said too, you're able to work remotely, so you can literally still,
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
have to take vacation.
That's what's great about Zoom and all that. Like, I guess like this is almost. I don't know if it was as much of a thing before the pandemic, but yeah, since then my job's been remote. So yeah, it's super easy to just, even like being home, I can sometimes I literally will like record a TikTok during my lunch break or something because I'm just home right here. So it's like it's always like it's been great, honestly. And yeah, it allows for a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, yeah. So you spoke about COVID and the pandemic. What, you know, obviously it stalled everything from the music standpoint. Did you use that time productively, or was it more focusing more on the full-time job at that point?
Yeah, so that's like a crazy time. And when I think back to it, it's just really crazy how it all kind of played out. I graduated with my bachelor's in June of 2020. So like that first 3 months of the pandemic. So I didn't get a college graduation or anything like that. So yeah, so that was a strange time. And basically my school kind of offered this 5th year master's program where you could do an extra year and just get your master's done in a year. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be home anyways. So I did started that, enrolled in that. The same time I'm watching a bunch of YouTube videos because it's a weird thing where doing the masters was like, okay, but no, I'm not gonna stop with music. Like I was like, I'm still gonna do music. I'm not gonna let this stop my like what I love to do. So learned how to produce a lot through YouTube, honestly, during that time. We're sitting at home anyway, so I'm working part time at that point. I'm working part time. I'm doing my masters and I'm learning how to make music. I got a nicer mic. I got a nicer setup. I recorded some demos. Then I sent them to this producer, Charlie Heat, and he replied and he said, "Oh, I really like this. Here's some beats." Introduced me to Busco. Started working with Busco, and yeah, the rest is really history. So it's really crazy because I feel if the pandemic didn't happen, I might not have gotten so into being able to make my own demos, and I might not have made those songs that ended up starting my career. So it's a very interesting, crazy time.
It was a crazy time, and it's so weird to me how like so many people that I've interacted with, either friends or just strangers, that like they just don't remember that, or like it's almost like people don't want to remember that time, and it's like, guys, that was like 4 years ago. Like what are we doing? Like, you
I know.
know, but like,
I feel it all started to blur together for a lot of people too. It's just it flew by. It's crazy.
yeah. So, well, yeah, speaking of flying by, one of the things that I did enjoy about the pandemic as a fan of music was a lot of these bands did like these home concerts, the live streams.
Yeah.
One in particular, and I don't know if you're a fan of, but Death Cab for Cutie,
Oh yeah.
the lead singer Ben did those like shows at home. Like I think he did like 10 or 11 of them. They were fantastic. I don't know if you caught any of them.
Yeah, yeah. I think those home concerts were great. Like that was true. They could really produce them out. Some did some funny at home concerts too. Some did high production, some did low, but yeah, those are great.
Well, I guess if you were at this point in your career, say like a year into the pandemic, do you feel like you would have taken advantage of that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I still wish that I wish I took advantage of it back then, honestly, more than I so I can't really say, it's kind of like a hindsight thing. I would hope I would though. I would hope I would. But I sometimes sometimes you don't, but I would hope I would.
You got to always think that, yeah,
Yeah,
the glass is half full, right?
yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about you opened for Fly by Midnight. I am not familiar with them. Talk to the audience who might also not be familiar with them.
Yeah, I mean they're a great group. They've got a big following in North America, in Asia too. They actually just did a festival in Korea, so they're well known out in Asia. They make, I guess, indie pop, you could call it. Very catchy, very like cinematic, I would say, music. And yeah, they're great guys, super nice, and yeah, their music is super good, super catchy, and their fans were great too. They got a really good following.
So how did that all play out, that you got to be the opener for them?
Yeah, I was connected. Well, actually, Jackie knew them and their manager, and I mean that was really it. And then just sent them my stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So, yeah, it was because of Jackie. Yeah, yeah, it was just
Okay.
manager to manager. I've learned that's how it happens a lot of the time, for a lot of artists. So,
Yeah, definitely. So you got to play at the Troubadour.
mhm.
Talk to the audience. I mean, I can only speak that it's just an iconic venue in downtown LA, basically, right? What's the capacity?
I want to say I think it's not too big. It's about 500. I want to say so. It's a little, well. I say it's not too big. It was my biggest show ever, but I'm just saying in terms of like other artists, it's not the biggest venue, but yeah, they sold it out. They sold it out quick, and it was an awesome night. It was honestly one of the best nights of my life, and yeah, like you said, it's just being in such an iconic venue. It was so cool. Like, uh, I mean, I could name so many. I mean, just to name a few, like Elton John debuted in America there, which is nuts. Guns N' Roses played there. It's just so many artists. Like if you don't know what it is, you should look it up. But I mean, just to be there, be backstage there was super cool, and it was a great night. Local show, so friends and family got to come out, and yeah, just a great night.
So was there anything particular like memorabilia wise or something hanging on the wall like in the green room or like backstage at the Troubadour that really kind of like fascinated you or like kind of that you were drawn to?
Not really that I can remember. There wasn't really much memorabilia backstage. I mean, all I was thinking was, oh my gosh, like they've been here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And just like I had been to concerts there before, so recently too. So that was what was so crazy because my photographer actually reminded me. He shot the photos for the show, and the last time we were there was a year ago when Busco, my collaborator, he played guitar for another artist that was performing there, and like we were all hanging out, and he was like, "Bro, you told me that night. You said like if you ever got to perform there, it would be like just like a great like kind of like not I made it moment, but just like a great career moment, a milestone that you always wanted to do." And I was like, I totally forgot that I told you that. And he was like, yeah, bro, you told me that. I'm like, that's so awesome. Cause I felt it inside, but just the fact that I had vocalized it while we were there, like a year before, it just like was so powerful. And like, I definitely believe in like, just speaking things into existence and just letting the universe and other people around know the goals and things that you want to accomplish.
That's well said. Absolutely. So then we played at a place called the Chapel in San Francisco last month. You just kind of hear a lot of bad things about San Francisco in the news. Like, what was your impression of San Francisco, or did you not really have enough time to spend when you were there for the show?
Oh man, well actually I didn't mention this, but during the pandemic, I actually lived in San Francisco. So I went
Okay.
to school. I went to school in Santa Clara University. It's right by San Jose, about an hour out of San Francisco, about like an hour south of San Francisco. And so I lived there, and the bad things are true, and the good things are true. It's just any city. They do have like a lot of people on the streets, and it's very sad to see, and a little scary sometimes to be around. But it's a beautiful city, and the parks are amazing. The like restaurants and everything like that. So it's like any city. There's crime, there's homelessness, but there's also history and great places to go, great things to do for entertainment. My time there was actually really fun because it was my birthday weekend. So got to like kind of celebrate my birthday that weekend too in San Francisco.
Nice.
So that was nice, and ran into some college friends, and yeah, it was a good weekend.
So, being from California, I'm assuming, are we a wine drinker then, or are we more of a beer liquor?
Uh, I mean, I'll drink wine, but yeah, definitely more beer liquor for me. Yeah, but I don't mind wine. What about you?
Yeah, I did not appreciate wine until I worked at a tapas restaurant.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I learned all about like South American wines, like
yeah.
Carmenères and Malbecs, and so like I became a wine fan. And I'm
Uh,
actually my favorite like wine is like an Old Vine Zinfandel, really nice, full bodied. I'm not a big Cab fan, but I do like the Old Vine. So yeah, I would
see,
love to go to Napa sometime. That's definitely on the bucket
oh,
list.
me too. But the wine I've most wine I've drank is the Franzia box wine, so I can't really speak on I can't speak on wine. But that's the thing. Maybe I haven't tried the expensive ones yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean in California, my gosh, like you're craft brewery central too. So I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Like I just went to a brewery yesterday to watch the Game 7 for the NHL Stanley Cup. So yeah, that's like something I like to do with my friends is just go to a brewery, hang out. So yeah.
good stuff. So we are performing at a music festival this weekend called Monrovia.
Mhm.
Um, where is this? What is this about? How did we get connected with that? Or was this a Jackie move as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, it's a Jackie thing, manager move, and it's yeah, it's just the city music festival, and it's in the city of Monrovia, and it's their annual music festival. Yeah, should be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
What's the what's the attendance? Like any idea for attendance?
No, I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. I mean, I know it's not gonna be like Coachella, but like it's yeah, it's my first festival. I think it's giving to me more of like a city music festival, gonna be a lot of locals and like a really good time, or like maybe a family event, but also young people too. But I don't really know what to expect. I mean, I'm excited. I'm gonna play my set and have some fun.
So let's talk about the set. Do you kind of pine over your set list, or do you kind of have like you kind of have it figured out, or yeah, is it kind of a little bit of both?
I think it honestly is tough to cut down into 30 minutes when I probably have about maybe 30 songs, maybe 50. Like, if you count the acoustic versions, it's like 50, but I guess we're not going to count those. So, like, maybe 30 songs, and um, it's kind of tough to choose which ones to do because I love all them. But yeah, I mean, I think we kind of tend to go towards, maybe more upbeat than slow because you don't want to like bore them, but then you still want to show the slow side. Want to like maybe do a song that maybe shows off your voice more. Like these are things that you think about when you make a set. Um, I think we've kind of got it down though of our 30-minute set. And as new songs are released, we'll add and subtract things, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because it really depends on the band or the artist you talk to. Like some it's the set list really doesn't matter to them. If it's you're, promoting a new album, obviously like you're gonna play a good amount of that new album, but outside of that, like they don't really
Yeah.
care too much. But then other bands, it's like, no, like I gotta look to see when what show I play or what set list I played the last time I was at the like
Yeah.
in this city, like it's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm really excited to kind of see how it goes in the future and everything. But I think like it was kind of hard to cut it down. So I would like to have an hour or more like in the future. So which I will. So I'm excited for those times. But for now, being like more on my opener vibes right now, I'm 30 minutes, which I'm good to just give the quick punch. This is me, and let's get out of there. And it's a lot of fun.
Well, and I gotta say, man, like listening to your entire catalog, if I were you, I would have a hard time, picking 5 or 6 songs because that's basically what you're getting in that 30 minutes, right? I mean, maybe
Yeah,
7.
tough because it's so different too. So it's
Yeah.
like I have some. I want to get all my vibes out there, all my genres out there, but then also keep it cohesive. So yeah, it was a little tough, but we got it. Especially with Busco, he helped me a lot with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's talk about the single that we released last week, "Lover or Friend." Um, Talk about that inception, the idea behind it. Give the audience a little bit of taste.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just wanted to go back to like writing a guitar song. Just wrote it on guitar. Wanted it to be a little upbeat, and then it kind of got a little folky, kind of country vibe to it. And yeah, I just wrote it about a situation that everyone has been in, where you have a friend, a really good friend, and you're like, oh, maybe we could be more though. And they're giving you some hints, and you're not really sure if they want to be more than friends, if not, and like all you want to do is just ask them, are you a lover or a friend? And I think it also was inspired by like a lot of my friends have been going through it recently too. It's just something. There's a lot of movies made about it. It's just it's something I think that's relatable, and I was just inspired by kind of hearing some friends talk about it, and then thinking back to my experience with it.
Yeah. So would you say, like, so far being at the age you are, do you feel like your dating experience has been overall positive or has it been more frustrating?
Well, I was lucky enough to meet my girlfriend a year and a half ago, so we've been together.
Nice.
Um, and I definitely didn't have good. I would say it was overall negative before that though. So when I write these songs, I draw back to those times, and I kind of put myself in those shoes, and I think back to how it felt. And I just, this could be the whole podcast, me talking about dating in today's world. It's so tough. Like I hear friends talk about it and everything. And, it's just tough. It's really tough. Like for a lot of guys, with social media and everything else. And you only meet people online now. And it's just, a lot more things matter to people than what's on the inside nowadays, I think, and it makes it tough to date. But I think going back to this song though, it's kind of interesting because obviously if you're friends with someone, you like what's on the inside. So then it's like, what is then preventing us from being lovers? And then that's what kind of causes that whole situation because you do still have to be attracted to someone, and of course, but it gets a little into that gray area, you know what I mean? So I think it's an interesting kind of thing to write about.
Well, yeah, too, because if you think about it, like you'll meet like uh, people in relationships who will say, "Oh, well, we were friends first before we started dating,"
Right,
and
right.
then you'll hear like couples that have been together who'll say, "Oh, he's my best friend."
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like,
exactly.
yeah, it is
Those
a
are the best
little,
relationships, honestly. I think you
yeah.
should be a friend. I think that's great. um and I think it's just like such a nerve-wracking thing for people though to kind of make that move. You know what I mean? It's so tough because you don't want to lose the friendship. But it's like once you make that move, maybe it's hard to go back to how it was. And it's just, I know it's hard for a lot of people. And I've been in that situation too. So yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to take the dive every time. You kind of want to like pick and
Right,
choose.
right, right, right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, I am anytime an artist tells me that they write all of their own music, I obviously appreciate them so much more. How important is that to you that you write your own music?
I mean, I like it's important to my life that I write music, if that makes sense. Like I don't like I think I said this before, or I don't know if I did, but it's like in my kind of darkest periods of my life was when I wasn't writing music. It's like everything just feels so bottled up, all every like emotions and everything, and it's like I just have things I have to get out, you know what I mean? And it's like if I'm not writing, then I'm not getting it out. So I just write a lot. And then obviously, if you write a lot of songs, then those are the ones you're going to release. But I'm not completely against writing with other people. So I've written some songs with other people before. Um, I think one of them was released. Sometimes they're not though, because I don't know, because sometimes it's tough. Like it's like, the songs that are close to me are the ones that I write, but I'm not completely closed off by any means. I mean, I would love to collaborate with artists that are super dope. So I'm always open to that too. But yeah, like overall, I'm just always writing. So it's just something that is kind of bound to happen is that I release music that I write.
And you said you obviously a topic of a lot of your songs is past breakups and past relationships.
Mm.
As a songwriter, like you kind of become like either that storyteller or more of like that breakup kind of like love, more topic. Does that really matter to you, or that you kind of go in one lane, or do you try and deliberately go in both lanes?
Um, I'm not really sure. I mean, I think it's like the music also gives me a vibe. It's like if it's sometimes it just comes out. Like sometimes the music just brings that love song out of me. Sometimes the music brings that breakup song out of me. Sometimes I just write about exactly how I'm feeling in the moment. A lot of my songs are kind of more of that like introspective kind of lyrically like driven songs where it's like this is how I'm feeling right now in my mind. It's not necessarily about love. It's just about like my life, I guess. So it's like I would say it's mainly the music, but it's also just something I can't explain to where I hear it or I'm like writing it on guitar and then that's just like what comes out and then that's just what it is. I don't know if I think like, oh, I'm going to write a breakup song or oh, I'm going to write a love song. Sometimes I do think, oh, I'm going to write a song about how I feel about this or something like that. So it's like just depends, but yeah.
It's not about like how she folds the laundry wrong or something like that.
Yeah, it's like it's more about like I'm trying to think like I have some songs about like I have a lot of songs about like about society that I've written right now that I'm thinking of maybe just releasing. I've
Hmm.
kind of teased online like I kind of wrote like a song about the election. I wrote a song about kind of like rich and poor. I've written a bunch of different songs. Something kind of topics I want to get into, but I just love a classic love song and I love a classic breakup song. You know what I mean? I think they're
Hmm.
very universal. So I love when that happens too. But I also don't want to be in that. I just never want to put myself in any lane of like, oh, he only writes about this. Oh, his genre is only this. It's
Right.
like, you never know what to expect from me or what I'm going to do. So that's kind of how I want to keep it. And I feel like people that like my music or my art are like open-minded people that maybe like all different types of music, so it doesn't really matter to them.
I mean, music and love are both universal. So if they intersect, it's just a
Yeah,
natural marriage. I mean,
exactly that.
yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody should fight that.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
probably not going to be as successful as you want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but anyway, so let's talk about Busco. So you have been working with him now for 3 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Can't believe it.
I mean, I'm just gonna give the laundry list of artists that he's worked with, and you can tell me artists that I won't, that I'm not listing. But he's
I
worked
don't
with
know.
Future, right? He's worked with Bryson Tiller. He's worked with Little Uzi Vert, Who else
And
has he worked with? I mean, gosh darn, like that is an
um,
impressive list of.
he's got a lot, and it's like he's just so humble, and just he's my best friend. Like that's like my guy, and like um, he we just create so well together. All my songs are with him, so like we probably have made hundreds of songs now. And like yeah, I mean that's just like my best friend. Like yeah, we're just always together, always making music, and it's just been great, and he's helped me a lot. I know it's crazy the things he's done, the places. Like he just went on a tour in Europe. He played guitar and MD'd the tour for India Shawn, opening for Black. They're R&B artists, and so he was like in Europe for a bit, and he's just great. And yeah, he's one of the best guitar players, if not the best guitar player I've ever seen. And yeah, I'm just blessed to be working with him, and yeah, it's been great.
A great guitar player that's also a hip hop producer, huh?
Man, he does everything. He plays
Yeah.
drums, he plays bass, he makes hip hop music, he does it all. But he is crazy on guitar, like crazy. He plays
So
metal, punk. He started in punk bands growing up. So he's done everything. He can do anything.
so he has like his own music under his own label or under his own like
Yeah, he
name
had
or.
a band. He had a band growing up, but I don't know if it was I think it might have been. I don't think it's on Spotify or anything though. I think it was like CD type stuff, and they did some tours and stuff, but like he kind of moved more into producing, and he was in Atlanta. So that's kind of how he got into hip hop. Was he was in Atlanta in like 2014, 2015 time, when that whole Atlanta hip hop scene was blowing up. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So how does he like then living in Los Angeles compared to Atlanta? Do you guys talk about that? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I think it was a time in his life. I think he's excited to be in LA. He's been here almost 2 years now. Um, so yeah, yeah. I think he likes it. He's from Buffalo, New York. So he's been all around. Yeah,
okay. So you are from Fullerton, California.
yeah.
If you were a travel agent or if you were a, Chamber of Commerce board member,
Yeah,
what is it about Fullerton that,
yeah,
inspired you or kind of made you who you are as an adult?
yeah. I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, really, like, so. I mean, Fullerton is in the middle of LA and San Diego, about a little more closer to LA.
Okay.
It's you can
How
go to the
close are you to Carlsbad then?
maybe an hour and a half. Oh,
Okay.
it's pretty far actually. Now that I think about it, it might be 75 miles or so, maybe
Okay.
more 2 hours. Yeah, but it's yeah, we're closer to LA than San Diego, but the beach is like 30 minutes away. You can go to the mountains in like a couple hours. Like it's perfect weather here. So in terms of that, it's awesome. Fullerton's the city over from Anaheim. So like we're like 10 minutes away from Disneyland. So like growing up, I had like a pass to Disneyland, and we would always go. And yeah, I had a great childhood here. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what it's like in other places, so I can't really speak on it. I mean, it's definitely like a suburb vibe, and beach is close, and yeah, can't really imagine living in the snow or anything, so I can't really speak on that. But I love the weather here. So.
I don't think there's not much weather-wise not to like in California. I can feel you
Exactly.
on that. So like high school friends, like were they kind of in the same music that you were into, or were you kind of a lone kind of soldier when it came to like your music tastes?
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I never really thought about that. I think most of my friends were into hip hop, and that definitely kind of shaped me. Um, it was I went to high school during that same time, which is very interesting because it was when when Busco was in Atlanta working on that hip hop. I was then listening to that hip hop in high school. So it's very interesting because it was just that time, like 2015, 2016, where that trap hip hop was just kind of like really at the forefront. I just like, yeah, so that was kind of the music that shaped like a different side because growing up, I really loved like Ed Sheeran, John Mayer, like kind of more like artist I am now, you know what I mean? But I still have that kind of hip hop, kind of like love a beat, kind of vibe, I guess, things I like. I also grew up listening to a lot of like 90s rock, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Sublime, so Green Day. So I go
So
all over the place, honestly. But my
I,
friends were mainly into hip hop. My friends were mainly into like the hip hop of the 2010s.
yeah. Obviously, it makes sense that you like Sublime. Obviously, they're right in your backyard. What do you
Yeah.
think about his son kind of taking over the reins and carrying on the spirit?
I mean, it's his son. I mean, I don't know. I want to see more. I want to see more performances from him. I don't know if I can judge off one performance, but I think that's awesome. I mean, it's like I think his dad would be happy with that, and I hope the band is too.
Yeah, I mean, huge band for me growing up, definitely. So it is, as in any of these tragedies of these artists that died at 27, it's just way too soon. And you always wonder, like, what
Yeah,
if,
what would
like what? Yeah, but
I
anyway.
know? It's crazy.
Um, so how does being a Mexican Italian artist influence your music? And because like, in all honesty, if I just listened to your music and I didn't know anything about you, I would have never guessed that. So is that
Yeah.
fair to say, or is that like talk
Yeah, I
about
mean,
that? Yeah, it's
I don't know. Like I like my dad is Mexican, my mom's Italian. We are I think I'm fourth gen American, so we've been here for a while. Um, I have a reggaeton song out. I would say I grew up listening to like Frank Sinatra. My grandpa loves Frank Sinatra, so I think it influenced me when I was younger. But I have yet to like fully. I guess it wouldn't be apparent, but like I told you, it's like so many genres and so many things that have shaped me, and like my personality and my life. So I would say it has a huge influence on me. More personally than musically, maybe like just like in terms of morals and my values and that kind of stuff. But musically, it's just everything in a pot that it's might be hard to kind of pick one out.
it's fair to say. I believe that. So when you were like, did you before you started writing your own songs, did you do covers or would you play covers? And if you did, like, what were some of the favorites that you would do?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny actually. My first like performance in front of like people playing guitar was a fifth grade talent show where I did "I'm Yours" by Jason Mraz, and I wore like the fedora and everything. So like that's great. I haven't seen that video in a while. I mean, I'm sure the guitar playing was terrible. And then my kind of like big moment when I was young, I guess, was in seventh grade. I did this talent show, and I did "Hey Soul Sister" by Train, and that kind of like blew up slightly within like my school and local. So um, that was a great kind of like moment when I was young of me being like, oh, I love to do this. Like other people think I'm good. Like so that was awesome. A lot of Beatles, like Let It Be. Um, my dad plays guitar too, so my dad had this big book of like Beatles songs. So I would learn a bunch of Beatles songs, how to play them, because it had all the chords. And then eventually, just like that's how I learned how to play guitar was just looking up my favorite songs online. So trying to think of what else. Like, oh yeah, a lot of Ed Sheeran. Um, and yeah, just kind of like that vibe. Jack Johnson. very like acoustic.
So I
So
guess so when you say you learned online, I'm assuming just you watched YouTube videos or was there specific like sites that you would go to?
I mean, I think it was mainly just, Ultimate Guitar tabs and just like, because my dad would kind of teach me the chords. But like, this is what I always tell people. I'm like, if you just learn C, G, D, you know thousands of songs. So I would just kind of like learned like how to play maybe 4 or 5 chords and then just learned a bunch of songs. Um, so yeah. And then it's kind of just evolved as I joined a band in high school and we started making our own music and yeah. So my guitar is playing has gradually gotten more advanced, but like I see like Busco play and I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I'm not close to that, but I definitely have gotten better. I would say it's Ultimate Guitar tabs though when I was younger.
So how often would you say you practice playing guitar than a week now?
Oh, probably every day, almost
Oh,
every day.
okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you are grinding.
yeah. I mean, I just love it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, like that was me growing up was just, oh, how do I play this song that I love? Like that's why I try to tell people too, because it's like if you do like lessons, it's great to learn the fundamentals, but it's like you are learning songs that you don't really care about, so you're less inclined to practice. Whereas if you look up a song that you love, you're gonna want to learn how to play it and you're gonna get better. So that's why I'm like, just look up a song you love and learn how to play it. And it's all online.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good words to live by, my friend. So uh, let's talk about the industry itself. I mean, obviously, as a indie artist, up and coming artist, a lot of cards and a lot of decks are stacked against you. Out of all of those, what do you feel is like the biggest challenge?
Hmm. I guess my biggest goal right now has just been trying to get like more engagement on social media. But I don't really know if that has to do with me being an indie artist as much as me just having to make better content myself. So I don't really like to blame anything else because I've seen indie artists blow up and do things, So I don't think that's all it is. And I've seen artists with thousands of dollars behind them not do anything either. So I do think it's very difficult though, for sure. And it's tough to make money as an indie artist for sure. Which is why I have my job. But in terms of like barriers, I just like I don't really see any. It's like I'm my only barrier really. So I'm just gotta get better and keep doing what I'm doing. Like just keep releasing music, try to make better music, better videos, better everything, and just hope that more people connect with it.
So what's your stance then overall on social media then with regards to, trying to keep an art not a commodity?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's up to the artist, I think, really. I mean,
Okay.
I guess it's up to the people too. But it's like if you're trying to make a song for TikTok, then that's on you. That's not really on the platform or anyone else. I mean, I've seen people benefit from making those types of songs or whatever, and it doesn't make me want to do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, it's up to the artist, and I don't want to act like I don't know. Like, I just don't want to be bitter and be like, oh, that's why it's not blowing up is because I'm not making a TikTok song. Like, no, like if I made an, like, there's just undeniable songs that are just good, undeniably. And I just have to make those. And like, that's it, really. Like, I don't know, but it comes to the thoughts of like, would Red Hot Chili Peppers, would Sublime blow up on TikTok today? I think they might. I think they could because like music's undeniable. And it's kind of sad to think that maybe we're missing out on some of those types of acts though because of this, I guess, because of society now. So I don't know. It could go either way for me. But like, all you can do is just keep pushing, keep releasing music, and that's it really. Just keep like making what you love.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's a blessing and a curse because on one hand, if anybody can really because of technology now, release a song, whatever is considered a song nowadays, and potentially like billions of people watch it or listen to it.
Yeah.
But to the other end of like, well, if you didn't have that and then you only have 30 bands on the radio,
Yeah.
like, so there's
Oh,
got
true.
to be a happy medium, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's definitely lowered the value of a song, because there's so much. Like if there's so much supply of something, it lowers the value. So it's like that's the kind of issue we're in now. Um, and in terms of like how that affects music as a whole, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I think artists can still release good music and can still be successful. I think it allows for more people to be successful in music because, like you said, there was only 30 bands on the radio before. There's probably hundreds of artists that are maybe thousands. Well, definitely thousands of artists that are making a living off of music that wouldn't have been able to before because of the internet. I just think that maybe the top tier needs to just maybe there needs to be more of those like top tier artists and like just art needs to be pushed more in general instead of just kind of like selling out, making like a simple song that no one's gonna remember, maybe like a low frequency kind of low vibrational type of music will that a lot of people will listen to, but it might not be remembered in 20 years. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. So let's talk about Los Angeles, the music scene. You know, what have you found since you've been here with regards to like, is there a lot of opportunity for like live music for you to play at? Like, are a lot of venues like open to indie artists, or is it mostly cover bands and like you got to be famous?
I think it's just funny, right? Because I feel I did that. I've almost done every opportunity. And so I don't know if there are a lot then. Like if I'm able to just do it in a year, maybe there's not a lot. But like you said, it's like every artist performs in LA or makes a stop in LA. So maybe there's less venue space or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think there's more opportunities than other cities. That's for sure. I did like the whole indie artist circuit last year and a couple of years ago. Of there's different showcases. You just like it's really easy. You just apply through the internet through Instagram. Like that's what I would do. Just find like all the showcases for indie artists in LA on Instagram and just figure out how you apply. Figure out an email, send them your stuff, and then hope that they let you play. So yeah, I think there are good opportunities. I mean, the big one for indie artists is We Found New Music because they have a show 3 times a week in LA. So that's 3 new groups of artists every week. So he's always doing shows
And where is
so
this at?
We Found New Music. It's in LA, mainly at this hotel called Hotel Ziggy, and this other venue slash bar called Bar Lubish. So I performed there a bunch because I've done We Found New Music a bunch. And there's been a lot of like famous artists that have gone through there or done his radio show. Like I know Billie Eilish and Dua Lipa did those. Kim Petras. So yeah, I mean that's one. There's a lot of there's like a company called Breaking Sound you can do shows with. So you can find shows for sure. But unfortunately, I feel it's not the same as it was maybe. I mean, I keep bringing it back to like Red Hot Chili Peppers, but like I feel like they would just like go in LA and perform and it would be this community and it would be a thing. Like I'm just not I'm yet to find that community. And like I've been really looking, like I really would love to find that sort of community, but I feel the internet has just made it easier for people just to kind of stay at home and just be on their phones and just maybe like I think it's almost like you blow up on the internet compared to blowing up with live shows nowadays. So, but I mean, I love playing live, and so I'll always do it. And I love being at a new venue. But it's like at some point, that I experienced like last year is like I'm playing kind of for the same type of people. I feel like because I'm just playing in these same showcases. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that does get tough because you're right, because there is a certain niche of people that are going to those, types of, people like me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's I feel a lot of people in my generation that are younger will mainly go to like DJ type of concerts or like clubs more than like a live band concert nowadays. I love EDM, I love DJ, like nothing against that. I'm just saying like for me personally that's why it's tough because it's like I almost understand. It's like I love live music, but I feel a lot of people might go to a live music show and not like who's playing, and they're like, "Oh, why did I go? Like I could just go and listen to like a DJ." And it's like, but it's like I don't know. You can't make people think how you think, I guess. You know what I mean? Everyone's different, so.
I just like I think, and I've seen enough shows that I think I can say this. I feel like EDM and like rap and hip hop shows, like in a concert format, you're not getting the same as like a rock or like a even like a singer-songwriter acoustic like performance. Is
Oh,
that
for sure.
fair to say?
Oh, it's completely fair to say, but I almost think that that's why people go to those because they don't want to have to
Right.
think and focus. They just kind of want it in the background while they're having fun. I like that too. I respect that. So it's like it's just, it's just what you prefer, you know what I mean? But that's why like the internet is almost the better way to go about it now, but I kind of pulled back on those showcases a little bit cuz I just kind of realized I don't know how much this is doing for me. I kind of already have honed my live performance in my show. So I kind of took a little step back this year and kind of just doing like opening for bands and, the festival, like kind of trying to do more like, or less frequently, I guess, and kind of bigger type shows.
Yeah, and different audiences too, like you said, right? Yeah. So let's talk about new music that your audience should expect. Obviously, we had Love or a Friend released last week.
Mhm.
I think you mentioned something about beginning of August for maybe.
Yeah, we got music every month basically. I think I have a collab song coming out in July with a rapper. I have a song coming out in August, song in September, and then maybe a project sometime around after that. So nothing's official yet, but we got a ton of music, just trying to figure out how to roll it out in the best way.
So tell our audience and your audience how to find you on socials and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not Rauly on all socials. That's NOTRAULY.
My friend, thank you so much for doing this. Best of luck for the rest of the year. Hopefully, the festival this weekend, you get a lot of good feedback. And yeah, man, much love
Awesome.
to you.
Thank you,
From
man.
the East Coast to the West Coast.
Oh yeah, hope I'll make it out to Pennsylvania soon, and you can come see me.
That would
That'd
be
be
amazing. Heck
awesome.
yeah. Well, I think you know what? That would be probably more of a treat for you because you would be coming here instead of, like I could see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
So.
near Philly at all, or not really?
Yeah, I'm only like an hour. Like where I live, it's really ideal. Like I'm an hour and a half west of Philly. I'm an hour and a half north of Baltimore. I'm 2 hours
Oh,
north of DC. I'm 2.5 from New York City. Like,
oh, awesome. Yeah, I
yeah,
went down to Philly and did a little show there a couple years ago. But yeah, I
nice.
gotta go back. Gotta go back. But yeah, thank you.
Philly,
Man. Appreciate you.
yeah, Philly is it's one of the best cities in the world for live. Like those fans just appreciate live music more than other cities. It's crazy.
I'm excited. I gotta go back. I'll be back soon. I'll be back.
Good stuff. Well, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps artists like Rauly. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR Outfitters.com. Don't just wear RAR. And as always, I've been Dogg. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.